Hello and welcome back to another edition of Idology, your weekly deep dive into all things American Idol, brought to you by dolphins.
This is American Idol.
I'm here with season 6 standout Melinda Doolittle. Melinda, why don't you have any dolphins behind you?
Well, you know, I choose fire.
This is American Idol.
Is the message here that we're all going to hell in a handbasket? I don't know.
The message is that the show is going down in flames. That's the message right now.
Let's talk. I think there's a lot of widespread panic in the Idol Looney Nation. I was thinking about it Thursday night into Friday morning, and I thought maybe it's too soon to panic because we're watching the top 40 contestants, but it feels like the semifinals. So there's that feeling of, why are there so many bad singers? But usually we would just get the green mile, they would cut 20 people randomly, and we'd never even get to hear them sing, and we'd never understand why. So at least the way they're doing it this season, we understand why Melinda and Christabel and Josh went home.
To me, you felt like you wanted to please us too much.
I mean, I don't agree with all the decisions that went down this week, but at least I know how they came about.
This is the first time we've ever heard 40 people sing full songs. It's the first time, and I actually enjoyed that part of it.
Let's start with the men, because I thought some of the most peculiar decision-making happened during the Thursday night show. Like, I would have listed my top 3 performances as David Oliver Willis, Vincent Powell, and, probably Bryant Tadeo. 2 out of 3 of them went home. Like, am I crazy? Am I mishearing things?
I am completely on the same page. I actually obviously loved Vincent. Good gosh.
I just love the beat around you.
But Bryant's tone, what in the world? I mean, absolutely gorgeous.
Take a holiday from the neighborhood.
And then David, for me, the fact that he took Fever, a song that I do not normally enjoy, and made me actually enjoy it. He didn't do too much with it.
Fever, when you kiss me, fever when you hold me tight.
They must have been not actually doing sudden death like they said they were, and they were judging over what had happened all the way up until that point.
Right, as Nicki would say, right, my little ladybug.
Miss Little Ladybug, work!
Those guys were better than Lazaro Arbos, and they were better than Nick Boddington. They just were. Cortez started his song in a key of insanity.
Shout it out.
I'm a little concerned that the judges have this feeling of, if you're a black guy or a black woman, that you are required to do a tremendous amount of runs and melisma.
I felt the song choice made it a little boring for you because your voice is bigger than that and you could take more moments.
No one ever asks that of Philip Phillips. So why is that? It's starting to make me angry. I didn't even realize I was angry about it until now. Now I'm angry.
That definitely is true in some areas, except for that you have somebody like Burnell who doesn't do a lot of runs or anything like that, and is still part of the competition.
Now you're not with me. I realize I made a mistake.
I also think Nicki was a little bit angry that David was married.
You're married?
I am married.
How? Where's your wife?
When she discovered that he had a wife, it was almost like she had been betrayed.
You just got a guitar for Christmas, and you went up there in front of your family and was having a good old time?
Honestly.
I
lady.
mean, seriously.
No.
That's what I felt like, baby.
Can we talk about Lazaro's vocal for a minute?
Please don't make me be mean to Lazaro.
I work for an ice cream shop because that's the only job that I can get.
I actually had to hit pause for a second and be like, all right, let's go to a clear place and put that out of our minds, because it did break my heart, and you want to root for the guy. But this is not Extreme Makeover Home Edition. And we are not starting his performance next week with Ty Pennington, eyes bulging out of his head and veins throbbing and being like, move that bus! That's not what we're doing here. We're trying to find somebody whose album we want to hear and whose concerts we want to go see. And at this point, Lazaro is not anywhere near where he needs to be in the top 20 or the top 10. And the judges, if they wanted to be kind, would have cut this delusion short.
Okay, let me say this. That was an awful performance.
Yeah.
It was not good at all.
I've never been the kind to ever let my feelings show.
However, we have not seen awful performances from him leading up to this point. And we've seen a lot of what he's done. So I will say that he's actually had some pretty great performances leading up to this. And so one off night does not a delusion make.
To paraphrase Beyonce, I don't think he's ready for this jelly. The women on Wednesday I thought were pretty great. And given my druthers, I would have sent all 10 of them through into the voting rounds and maybe cut an additional 5 guys. Going into the Wednesday night show, I have to say the contestant I was probably least excited about was Rihanna Steer because of what she did during the group rounds. Maybe we shouldn't talk about that again.
I would make you so proud of me.
But her version of Bust Your Windows, I think, left me more excited than anything else on the night. And not because it was a flawless vocal. She had a couple rough patches on the song, but I felt like she performed it with aggression and drama, and she gave us a different mood.
Just see, you can't just play with people's feelings.
She gets an A+ for song choice. She really does, because that song just hits hard.
You made me believe you could literally bust the windows out of my car.
And I have to say, even though Candace Glover, probably Natural Woman, was not her most exciting song choice or her very best performance, she's already set the bar pretty high, and that makes it difficult for her. But I loved that she sang Natural Woman like she was a grown woman.
Ooh, you make me feel so good inside.
Speaking of our favorites for this week, who was your second favorite?
This might come as a shock. I really loved Zonet.
Good, Janelle.
Okay.
Do explain.
I seriously am questioning everything about my life at this point because I stood up with the judges after her performance and I thought, oh no, Randy's standing up too. I must sit down.
You weren't standing up to like run out, right, in the street?
No, I stood up and clapped because like the energy in her voice, the feeling of it, and no, it wasn't perfect, but not a lot of females had a perfect performance that night.
Right.
So I wasn't necessarily looking for perfection, but the abandon that she had, that song really kind of required. I'm just gonna say, maybe Zonet would be better used in The Lion King on Broadway. Because I think maybe if she walked out on that stage and sang with that kind of energy, the entire audience would be up on their feet in 1 second.
I'm not apoplectic that she got through. I think I would have voted to end her journey there and give the spot to Juliana or Rachel or Jet.
I am in agreement on Rachel and Jet.
Really? Because to me, I think Juliana was in my top 2 or 3 for the night. I loved what she did with Skyscraper. It was, you know, again, she's a completely different kind of vocal.
Only silence as it's empty.
She's shoe paper thin and just delicacy, and she made me like that song. And I love that she's so 15 that she was like,
my vocal teacher told me, take a song that you don't really like and try to make her like it.
I was like, you're gonna say that on TV, child?
That was kind of amazing. You know what? I loved what she did with the song. I did. And I loved like the lilting tone that she had. It was a little jarring when it, like she would be like sky, scray, and that'd be all lilting, and then she'd be like purr. And who am I to say anything when I like Zonet? So she had.
Thank you for saying it, so I didn't have to. I also felt like Jet, I didn't love the second half of Jet's vocal, you know, on Only Girl in the World. I thought it got a little rough, patchy, and sort of screechy, but I so appreciated the creativity it took to take a sort of nothing Rihanna song, you know, one of her sort of middling hits that you don't really ever think about the lyrics to, and brought a completely different energy to it. You know, Rachel, again, tried something. I think maybe the judges were upset that she tried something different. If this was allegedly sudden death, and I and definitely emphasis on allegedly, how did she not make it over Janelle?
Just a touch of the fire burning so bright. I don't wanna mess this thing up.
I love Keith Urban because he was like...
It's a kind of a limiting melody in the chorus. Doesn't really go anywhere for very long.
You just helped her start to choose songs in the long run. And I think it'll be invaluable to her if she actually listened to what he said.
We've spent this episode discussing our disappointment with some of their decisions, but I feel like at least these 4 people, in a larger way than we've seen before, are owning their opinions. And
I love them.
And can back them up. Some of their decisions are based on misguided logic, like you were hot, or your story broke my heart, but at least, even in the case of Lazaro, they didn't say, your vocal was amazing. It was just sort of like, we can't not have you in our top 20 because we love you and we want to boost your confidence.
I'm loving the panel. I'm loving how Nicki keeps Randy in check. That is cracking me up. Oh my God. I like how they each offer something very different. Like they all have a really different perspective.
And Mariah's starting to use her ear.
Especially when we could hear the air in your voice when you would go up to some of the notes.
I wish sometimes she wouldn't cushion it with her niceties. Like, just cut to the chase, lady. We know you've got something to say. Get in there and do it. But I'll take it. And I'll take Nicki giving Randy the side eye when he tried to justify cutting Candace Glover in season 11.
Last year was such a different time, and I think you've grown since then, right?
So much has changed about good singing between last year and now.
Right.
And she's like...
It was perfection.
Perfection.
Thank you, Nicki, for your side eye.
Hey, I'm Miranda Cosgrove, and you're watching ENTV.
Hi, I'm Kevin Williamson, and you're watching ENTV.
Hello, I am Jennifer Goodwin, and you are watching ENTV.